A big winter storm bringing heavy snow and rain to parts of the country, slowing down flights, making driving dangerous for millions of holiday travelers. Chicago is seeing some of the worst disruptions this weekend, with more than 1,100 flights canceled or delayed today. In Iowa, the state police said it had to rescue more than 200 people out of ditches after their cars slid off slick roads like that one. Meteorologist Chris Warren is tracking this storm. And Chris, I think a lot of people probably on the move tonight. Where is the storm headed next?
Well, the storm is moving out, but that's one storm. There's a new storm that'll be developing for tomorrow and tomorrow night. But right now, the latest with the airports, LaGuardia and Boston still seeing delays, departure delays around an hour or so. But the areas you mentioned in Iowa and then Illinois and Indiana getting a break right now. And for now, one of the other issues we're dealing with across the Northeast, the winds gusting around Buffalo up to 40 miles an hour through tomorrow. Still seeing things rather gusty, 20 to 25 mile an hour winds into the afternoon. So here's that departing system right here with the snow showers much more hit and miss at the moment, with rain making it at times a little tough on the roadways in terms of seeing some ponding on the road, some of the puddles and some of the just tough travel anyways, kind of making it worse with the rain. But then the next one again for tomorrow and tomorrow night, these alerts, winter weather alerts, are in effect for the next system that's going to develop. And this is how it's going to play out. This is the high resolution future radar. Give us a general idea of how things, and a pretty good idea, how things are going to play out in terms of the rain, green, and then the snow, and then the bluish colors. By tomorrow afternoon into the evening, 6:30, snow returns for parts of Iowa, almost all of Illinois, Indiana, once again. So this is another system. We had the one over the weekend. This is a new one for tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening around the Great Lakes, pushing off by early Tuesday into the Northeast. And at times, the snow will be heavy, but there's also something else. You have the rain down here and some storms, which will be a mess. But in between, there's also the potential for ice. So while there could be pockets of heavy snow in Pennsylvania and New York, it is going to be this ice, Jessica. We could see up to about a half an inch. That ice, it's that freezing rain that can accumulate on power lines and on trees and branches, bringing them down, causing power outages. And Jessica, making travel very dangerous with ice.
All right, Chris Warren with the look ahead there. It looks quite wintry. Thank you so much. And let's bring in Going.com's travel expert, Katie Nastro. Katie, good to see you. As Chris was just laying out, we have quite some weather this weekend as people are trying to probably fly home. How would you rate the travel weekend so far?
You know, look, unfortunately for some travelers, winter storms in the Midwest have upended their journeys as we look at the busiest day when it comes to air travel specifically, which is today. You know, looking at yesterday, 7% of all flights in or out of the U.S. were outrightly canceled per Cirium Aviation Analytics data, which is roughly just over 2,000 flights and 9,000 delayed. Cities like Chicago, as mentioned, Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, as well as Minneapolis, really feeling the pinch, and more regional airports as well. So in terms of what we're seeing, obviously winter weather can always be impactful, but this is definitely one for the books for sure.
Yeah. And so for people out there who are wondering, or maybe they have a family member or friend, if your flight's canceled, what kind of rights do you have? What are you entitled to? What should you know?
Yeah, look, first and foremost, if your flight is outrightly canceled under federal regulation, you have that right to request a refund if you decide, you know what, I don't want to travel, or take a rebooking that the airline that you're flying with provides. Now, I will say with winter weather, we sometimes see airlines provide winter weather waivers, and all of the big three airlines, American, Delta, United, have these winter weather travel alerts in place. And that actually allows you to make changes to your itinerary regardless of your ticket type, even preemptively if your flight is not outrightly canceled, but it has the likelihood of getting impacted. And if you're unsure if the carrier that you're flying with over this weekend has a travel alert in place, it takes not even a moment. Go to Google, type in travel alert, and then your airline name, and it should pop right up.
Yeah, and that's important, I think, too, when you know there's going to be weather, like look ahead, see if you can kind of get ahead of everything before you're standing at that gate and they say it's canceled. That always helps. What other ideas and advice do you have for people when it comes to managing a weekend like this? Are there apps you rely on? Obviously, you want to have the airline that you're flying, you want to have their app downloaded. What else would you tell people?
Great point. You definitely want to have your airline app downloaded. You want to make sure you have those push notifications on because those are going to be the fastest form of communication with the airline, as well as Flighty is a great app that actually pulls in different data sets that will preemptively alert you to whether or not your flight has the likelihood of getting delayed. Now, it is a paid subscription, but it's worth trying out, especially during these winter weather months when we see a higher likelihood of weather playing an impact in whether or not you're going to see a travel disruption, as well as flight aware. And I would say even, if you're not flying to that destination that's impacted, even if you're flying across the country, you still want to keep an eye on the plane that's coming into where you're taking out from because it can get impacted by weather. And as we've seen across the last few weeks, especially with the shutdown, the aviation system is really interconnected and it can have a domino effect. So you can be outrightly impacted even without being in that area that's seeing weather, for example.
Right. It's good to know where your plane's coming from. That always helps too. And obviously we're looking ahead now to Christmas. We have New Year's. This is a time of year where people continue to travel. What recommendations do you have? Should people have already booked those tickets? Are they going to go down? Should you book them now?
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because our biggest piece of advice over at Going would be to get your travel plans booked ASAP, especially those flights. Domestic flights, according to Going data, is up 7%. International flights are up around modestly just 1%. But you want to make sure now that we're heading into those final weeks and we're coming into one of those peak times of the year, you want to ensure that you're getting a decent price and not an astronomically high price when you wait till the last minute. As well as I want to remind folks, definitely check out Travel Tuesday, this Tuesday coming for some discounts, but look to 2026 travels for taking advantage of it. It's unlikely you're going to find rock bottom discounts at this late in the game for those peak dates across the winter holidays. So definitely get those booked.
Book them now and you're probably going to have to pay. All right, Katie, thank you so much. Good to see you.
And I want to check in with Rafael Romo in Atlanta at the world's busiest airport. So what are you seeing on the ground there?
Yeah, Omar, well, earlier I showed you the baggage drop area for Delta. Wasn't doing too bad. Then later we showed you the main checkpoint. Not too bad either. I want to show you this area. This is a north ticketing area. And as you can see, this is perhaps the busiest area in the entire airport. This is where you find airlines including Alaska, Southwest, United is here, JetBlue is here. And take a look at this line, Omar. It goes around the corner. People not as happy as you would expect, although we see some smiley faces right there in front of us. These lovely people going to, I ask you really quickly for CNN, where are you guys going to?
We're going to Tampa, Florida.
Tampa, Florida. What do you think about the situation at the airport right now?
It's not too bad so far, but we'll see security.
Good luck, guys. Yeah. Have a nice flight. And that's pretty much what people are telling us. I earlier had an opportunity to talk to people, and I don't know what it is, Omar, maybe the spirit of Thanksgiving, the spirit of Christmas, but people say so far so good here at Atlanta. Let's take a listen to what they have to say.
I was in Fort Lauderdale. Took me 10 minutes to get through security to the lounge, and here I've got 2 hours for my flight. I gave myself plenty of time, so I'm not in a hurry. Just going to enjoy the day.
How has it been for you today?
Pretty easy, pretty smooth. I mean, there's a few people in line, but it's going pretty quickly.
Is that pretty much what you expected?
It's absolutely.
Now, Chris was telling us earlier regarding the weather with snow in Chicago. There was an airplane that slid off the runway in Des Moines. Here in the south, the problem has been rain and it's just cloudy weather in general, but that hasn't had a big impact so far anyway here at the world's busiest airport. Omar, now back to you.
Yeah, you got some people in good spirits at this point. Always a good thing when you actually have to walk up and talk to them. Rafael Romo, appreciate the reporting.